All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachaha, Kodash. Double honors to the head apostle, now as a great millstone who rule well and teach well, and Shalom to the elect. This is the brother Matt Dive from the GMS Virginia camp, coming to you through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh being the true, holy, and powerful name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God, Yahweh Shai being the true, holy, powerful name of his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus and Christ. Bahashim is in the name, and Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson. Okay, and I got a couple videos I want to play, and we're going to touch on a couple different topics. Uh, this first, I want to play the beginning of the brother Kabad's video out of the North Carolina Raleigh camp. The title of his page is GMS, or one of his pages is GMS Keep Pushing Forward. The title of his video is We in the Season of War. Watch, subscribe, and be edified. Okay, so without further ado, let's play.
The same response to United States as we have gave to Israel. We will respond strongly.
And this is one of the leaders of Iran, I guess, Iranian diplomat, uh, making a statement concerning the recent events that have happened um, between Israel, Iran, and now America. Okay, because America is involved in this war between Iran and Israel now. All right, they have got involved. They have, uh, you know, shot off missiles at various different nuclear sites, so-called, you know, in Iran.
We will give the same response to United States as we have gave to Israel. We will respond strongly, and we will stop aggression from any side, be it Israel or United States. And we have given message to United States that we will respond very firmly and we will stop the aggression by anybody, including United States. We will give the same response to United States as we have gave to Israel. We will respond strongly and we will stop aggression from any side, be it Israel or United States. And we have given message to United States that we will respond very firmly.
So, Iran has a message to the United States, that they're not backing down. They're not going to stop producing, various different things concerning their nuclear war program, Iranium, or, however you pronounce it. Okay. And we're seeing the temperature rising, the tensions between the nations, which this is all of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay. This is Joel chapter 3 and 9. It says, Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. We're at the beginning stages of World War III. We're also at the beginning stages of Jacob's trouble. And the warning has gone out to you, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which you are the biblical Israelites, via the prophets that Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai has placed all over the four corners of the earth. It says, Wake up the mighty men, and you're seeing the mighty men have been woken up. The Most High Yahweh is gathering these nations together for battle. Ultimately, he's gathering them together for their destruction. Okay? And war is going to pop off in that Middle Eastern area. All right? And eventually it's going to lead to an all-out war with all the nations involved. A world war, just like the scripture says. Let's get that real quick. What is that? The second woe. We're in the third woe. Bear with me one moment. Come on, bro. This is Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. We're at the beginning stages of that third woe. All right. Now let's go back to the book of Joel. And the third chapter, continuing on in the 9th verse, it says, Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Okay. Now I want to bring out this article that was sent by a brother in the chat concerning a national terrorism advisory. You know, this is from the National Terrorism Advisory System Bulletin. This is June the 22nd, which that's today. It says a summary of threat to the United States. The ongoing Iran conflict is causing a heightened threat environment in the United States. Okay, and we all know that there is sleeper cells. There's individuals. You think months back when the borders were open, when the United States of America, the government of the United States of America, were just letting all these people from these various different nations over to this place. Okay, before they started this whole migrant deportation crisis. Well, a lot of sleeper cells were coming over amongst those people that were allowed across the border, right? Which even before then, these different particular nations have and had sleeper cells in various different positions, high level positions in society over here in Babylon the Great. Okay, that's just war strategy 101. It says low level cyber attacks against U.S. networks by pro Iranian hacktivists. That's a new one. Hacktivist. I don't know if they spelt that wrong or not. It says are likely, and cyber actors affiliated with Iranian government may conduct attacks against U.S. networks. So they're predicting an attack, which they're predicting is going to come from Iran, which we know how this devil operates. This is the deceiver of the earth. He very well could just push an attack on his own soil, which he most commonly does, and blame it on Iran. Okay, we can see another 9/11 scenario. It says Iran also has long-standing commitment to target U.S. government officials it views as responsible for the death of Iranian military commander in January 2020. Well, you were responsible for it. Okay? What do you mean it views as responsible? Y'all are responsible for those various different attacks concerning the Iranian military. And the most recent attacks, Donald Trump has even came out to proclaim what they have done in Iran concerning those precise precision strikes on their nuclear facilities. Okay, it says, Esau always wants to play the victim, man. They always want to play the victim. They want to seem like the good guy. They want to seem like the things that they're doing are justified. Okay, it says the likelihood of violent extremists in the homeland independently mobilizing to violence in response to the conflicts would likely increase if Iranian leadership issued a religious ruling calling for retaliatory violence against targets in the homeland. Multiple recent homeland terrorist attacks have been motivated by anti-Semitic and anti-Israel sentiment. An ongoing Israel-Iran conflict could contribute to the U.S.-based individuals plotting additional attacks. Okay, so they're predicting something is about to happen on a major large scale over here in America, Babylon the Great. Okay, it says additional information: the Iranian government has publicly condemned direct U.S. involvement in the conflict. As you see right here, that the clip that the brother Kabad put in his video, it said both hacktivists. Okay, so this wasn't a misspell. This is a hacktivist. And a matter of fact, let's look up that word. It's the first time I've even seen that word. Real quick. Hacktivist. All right, let's see here. So hacktivist is a person who gains unauthorized access to computer files or networks in order to further social or political ends. It's basically like a hacker. Okay. So we could see an EMP attack, on a large scale to the electrical system and technologies over here in America, so just keep your eyes open. All right. keep your eyes open, and we're keeping watch. We're giving a report from the various different things that are happening on the earth, and we're filtering it through the scriptures. All right, it says both hacktivists of Iranian government affiliated actors routinely target poor secured U.S. networks and internet-connected devices for disruptive cyber attacks. U.S. law enforcement has disrupted multiple potential lethal Iranian-backed plots in the United States since 2020. During this time frame, the Iranian government has also unsuccessfully targeted critics of its regime who are based in the homeland for lethal attack. If Iranian leadership were to issue a religious ruling calling, because you got a lot of Muslims over here in America, you got a lot of Iranians over here in America, you got a lot of people that have the same belief as the majority of the people over in Iran. Okay, it says who are based in the homeland for a lethal attack. If Iranian leadership were to issue a religious ruling calling for retaliatory violence against specific targets in the homeland, it could increase the likelihood that a supporter of the Iranian regime is inspired to commit an act of violence in the homeland. When America does something, it's supposed to be, considered good. But when another nation attempts to do something or does something, they paint a very different picture, a very different narrative of it. Okay, it's a classic Edomite tactic, right? It says since the start of the conflict, we have seen media releases by foreign theist organizations, including Hamas, Lebanese Houthis, and Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, among others, some of which have called the violence against U.S. assets and personnel in the Middle East because of Israel's attack. The conflict could also motivate violent extremists and hate crime preparations seeking to attack targets perceived to be Jays, pro-Israel, or linked to the U.S. government or military in the homeland. Okay, so keep your eyes peeled. We very well could see very soon a very large scale false flag attack. Okay, black swan event, whatever you want to call it. And ultimately, this is going to have a heavy impact, which I believe that the next major thing we see in Babylon the Great is going to have a heavy impact on the persuasion of people receiving that electronic device as well. Okay. Now I want to play another video real quick. And this is a video from GMS Dedication. Sleeper cells are waiting to be activated in America. Watch, subscribe to his videos and his channels as well. And before we play this video, let's pull out a scripture real quick. Let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. Because prophecy is speaking. All right. And you have been warned concerning you Israelites. You have been warned. This wisdom and knowledge, this truth has traveled the globe. Okay. And every time the Lord was about to send a great destruction upon the land, he rose up his prophets to give warning. Okay. This is 2nd Ezra 15:1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. All right. So, and this, what's unfolding, what's happening right before your eyes is all part of prophecy. It says, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. So without further ado, let's jump into the second video.
Just paper. Look closer. Why is there an Egyptian pyramid on American currency? Why Latin phrases? Most people never question it. They're too busy chasing dollars to actually look at one. At the top of the bill, it says Annuit Coeptis. That means our enterprise is successful. But whose enterprise? At the bottom,
he puts little clues, little hints, in media and TV, television, movies, as well as his dollar bill. Okay, New World Order is written, I believe, in Latin on the back of the dollar bill. You see the all-seeing eye, you see the triangle, you see the pyramid. Okay,
Novus Ordo Seclorum.
and there's also a lot of other things in these bills. The dollar bill, the 5, the 10, the 20, the $100 bill, the back and the front, and you can just look up information, concerning bending these dollar bills, a $20 bill, in a certain manner, and you actually see the World Trade Centers, the third building, and the smoke coming, the plane, incoming plane, and various different things. It shows you that these things that happen on a large scale are all planned events. Okay, these things are spoken about in these high level councils. Okay, at these summit meetings, at these summit events, right?
The New World Order. They put it right in front of you, plain as day. This isn't decoration, it's a declaration. Look at the pyramid. 13 layers. Why 13? It's not just about the original colonies. Look closer. 13 stars, 13 stripes, 13 arrows, 13 leaves. This number keeps showing up. Is that just a coincidence? Or is it a hidden code, a symbol of power and control woven into the very fabric of our system? And here's the kicker. See the American shield? That's the true flag. But the US flag? That's a different story. The stripes run horizontal because the United States isn't a country. It's a corporation, a privately owned entity operating under a different set of rules. The symbols, the numbers, the words, it all points to one thing. A system of power hidden in plain sight. The real rulers of the world don't need to hide. They just need to keep you distracted.
Iranian Supreme Leader is warning now the U.S. of irreparable harm if the U.S. joins Israel's fight. But right now, leaders here at home are warning of so-called Iranian sleeper cells. The Trump administration and the previous Biden administration have been concerned about Iran's ability to direct or inspire attacks within the U.S. for years.
That the administration is actively monitoring these sleeper cells here in the United States, given the current situation with Iran and Israel and happening in the Middle East. Like, this has long been a worry for the intelligence community. Sleeper cells by definition are people who are here, spies or terrorists, waiting, kind of inactive until they're ordered to act. Now there's this new
they're waiting inactive. They're considered good upstanding citizens. They pay their taxes, they go to work. Howdy neighbor, how you doing? They seem like nice people. They don't make too many waves. They have pretty decent jobs. Some of them even have high level positions in society, high level positions in the military. Okay. High level positions in the government. And really, essentially, America is going to be taken down from the inside out.
2025 Homeland Security Threat Assessment, which says we expect Iran to remain the primary sponsor of terrorism and continue its efforts to advance plots against individuals, including current and former U.S. officials in the United States. The previous DHS threat assessment from Biden said the same thing. Now experts say, given the escalation between Israel and Iran, the possibility is very real, and our intelligence teams are working overtime. Here's Barak Siner. He's a senior fellow at the Henry Jackson Society.
As the conflict in the Middle East escalates and Iran is being...
Yeah, they said their intelligence teams is working overtime. But that works on both sides, both of Esau's intelligence teams. The side that tries to prevent these various different things, and also the side that, induces and forces and provokes these various different things that are happening over here in Babylon the Great. Because Esau plays both sides. Okay, he has these agents that cause various different problems to make it seem that it's just like a regular person or a regular guy that goes and does various different things or makes things happen. He controls that side, and he also controls the other side of these individuals that are trying to combat that. Okay.
Targeted. The regime thinks to itself, okay, we are on our last death throes, and therefore we will go out with a bang.
Yeah, so you got Jake in the spirit of mirth, and everything's going to be okay. That's going to get better. That this is just going to blow over. We're at the point of no return, and you've been warned by the prophets out there in the highways and byways. Okay, this is only going to escalate. This is only going to get worse. Eventually, Russia's going to get involved. North Korea is going to get involved. China is going to get involved. And it's going to be an all-out World War III. Okay, let's go to Ezekiel 21:8. It says, again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord, say, a sword is sharpened and also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. And Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is sharpening this sword. Everything that you see taking place concerning on a national standpoint and these nations coming together against each other is all of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Okay? Matter of fact, let's jump to 2nd Ezra. What is it? 2nd Ezra is bear with me one moment. Second Ezra 15 and verse 20, because ultimately the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is gathering these nations together for that great battle. Okay. Let's see here. Let's lock in. My phone's acting up. All right, this is 2nd Ezra 15 and 20, and it reads, Behold, saith Yahweh, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Lebanus, to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them. Like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also, and recompense in their bosom, thus saith the Lord Yahweh. And all these nations have had you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in captivity under them. All right, verse 22, my right hand shall not spare the sinners, and my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth. The fire has gone forth from his wrath and hath consumed the foundations of the earth. And that's going to happen at the height of World War III concerning these arrows, these weapons of the Lord's indignation. Okay. As you read Isaiah the 54th chapter, pursuing around the 16th verse, the Lord has put in the minds of these scientists to create these various different things concerning the instruments of war. Okay. It says, the fire has gone forth from his wrath and hath consumed the foundations of the earth, and the sinners like the straw that is kindled. Okay. Now let's go back to the book of Ezekiel. Chapter 21 and verse 8. Or continue on in verse 10. It says, it is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it might glitter. Should we then make mirth? It contempteth the rod of my son as every tree. And he hath given it to be furbished that it may be handled. The sword is sharpened and is furbished to give it into the hand of the slayer. All right. So these weapons that ultimately have been given to these nations are going to be used. They're not being built and put together, even stocked and stored up to just be put on the shelf. They're being made to be used at a particular point in time. Like the scriptures speak, that the Lord is gathering these nations at the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, okay, to be judged round about. And this is the last video I want to play. And we're coming into the stages concerning Babylon the Great of martial law and all-out lawlessness. Okay, and it's going to come to a point that you're going to see troops in the streets. You're going to see complete chaos, like it speaks about in the 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, around the 15th verse. People are going to start taking matters into their hands. People are angry. They're mad already concerning the things that are happening with, the nations and the involvement of America, the various different executive orders that Donald Trump is pushing. Okay. Donald Trump told you that there was going to be peace. Gas prices are going to go down. Now, Iran is talking about closing that strait. Okay. Forgot the exact name of that strait. Matter of fact, I have it right on my phone. Bear with me one moment. But if that happens, gas prices are going to skyrocket. Okay, the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, if that strait shuts down, hey, your gas that is now high now, which is $3-4 a gallon, hey, it's going to shoot to $10-15 a gallon very, very quickly. It's almost, you're not going to be able to afford to even drive your vehicles. These planes are not going to be able to afford. Well, nobody's going to be buying plane tickets because the plane ticket is going to be so high that all these planes are going to be grounded. Okay, which is going to lead to more businesses that are going to shut down. Businesses are not going to be able to afford to get supplies, to get goods. The prices of goods, the prices of your household items, the prices of food is going to skyrocket. Okay, hyperinflation. That's what they call that. These are the times that we're entering into. All right. This video is breaking, which you should know by now, that the United States has launched an attack on Iran, like we spoke about at the beginning of this video. But this is from Fox News, and I just want to play a little bit of this video.
Fox News alert. News from the President of the United States that there has been an attack inside Iran. Just moments ago, President Donald Trump putting out on Truth Social, we have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. Again, this from President Donald Trump. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordo. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Again, that's just seconds ago from President Donald Trump on Truth Social, suggesting that those B-2 bombers that perhaps were on the way may have been behind this. We'll get more details on these 3 sites that the president said has been attacked inside Iran. This comes after days.
Yeah, because at first, Donald Trump said the United States wasn't going to get involved with this conflict between Iran and Israel, but now you see their involvement, and ultimately it's Heavenly Father who is gathering these nations together for battle. Real quick, this is Joel 3:2. I also will gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, and will plead with them. All right, the valley of Yahweh's judgment. It says, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Okay, so judgment is coming upon all these nations by Yahweh, by Shem Yahweh Shai, and he's going to do it in a war scenario. Okay, China thinks they're going to be the next superpower. Russia thinks they're going to be the next superpower. America thinks they're going to continue in their superpowerdom. All right, North Korea, Iran, there's going to be an all involvement, Iran and China and Russia, together we can take down America, which together they are going to completely obliterate this place, right? Via nuclear missiles. But in their mind, they think, well, hey, since we're in cahoots together and we can defeat, America, the Americans, we're going to be the next in power. We're going to rule after we destroy America and their armies. Well, it's not going to go down like that, okay? The next in line to rule, which will be an eternal rulership, are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? So the Lord has all these nations in a trick bag
of negotiations to try to get Iran to the negotiating table. The president of the United States saying it would have to be unconditional surrender, saying enrichment would have to stop. We heard from negotiations in Europe that was not being accepted by the Iranians, that they would not stop enriching uranium. There was a thought that this could go as long as 2 weeks, as the president said he would decide within 2 weeks. However, 2 days is within 2 weeks. And now word from President Donald Trump that these attacks have happened. Again, interesting that 3 sites have been struck by U.S. bombers. And this, again, we'll get more information about the exact targets and what bombs were used. We expect that the GBU-57,
Yeah, so Iran's definitely planning on some type of countermeasure, right, against Israel and the United States. So keep your eyes peeled. We're living in some beautiful times. Let's close out on Isaiah, the 34th chapter. It says, "Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people, that let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all the things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies." So Yahweh Shem Yahushai's fury is upon all the armies of these nations. It says, "And his fury upon all their armies, he had utterly destroyed them, he had delivered them to the slaughter." Okay? So these other nations think that they're going to be the next superpower. Nah, you're being delivered into your own destruction, into your own slaughter. It says, verse 3, "Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountain shall be melted with their blood." And that's going to come at the height of World War III and when Yahweh Shai returns with the innumerable amount of angels. Okay? It says, "And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved," concerning when these warheads strike, which speaks about, let me keep reading. It says, "And the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll." And when these warheads hit their mark, that scroll, that cloud from the energy of these missiles and the destruction is going to roll up into the heavens. Okay. It says, "And all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth off from the vine, as a falling fig from the tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven." That's concerning what? That's concerning these missiles going out of the firmament into the upper atmosphere, and then entering back into, the through the firmament into the lower atmosphere, back onto the earth. It says, "For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment." Right? Esau, Edom. Okay? These missiles are going to come down upon America, and this place is going to turn into a lake of fire. Verse 6, "The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, and with the fat of the kidneys of the rams. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea." Okay, and that's concerning the great destruction that's going to take place via the weapons of the Lord's indignation. Lord willing, that was edifying. I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, or Chahak Wadash. Double honors to the head apostle, Nutters, a great millstone who rule well and teach well. Shalom to the elect. To the next time, shalom.